Hi everyone. Today I'm just going to be talking about Amazon ads. I've had a lot of requests to talk about ads. This video will be primarily for beginners and people that are just going to be getting started with ads. So it's not for people who obviously experienced and understand what this terms are. So yeah, this is going to be a basic video. It's not going to be a fancy one, but I hope it kind of covers some of the basics. Let me know if there are particular things that you'd like to know about ads as well, because I will cover that in a future video. Okay, thanks very much. So what is Amazon PPC? Amazon's ad system is auction-based, and that means you'll be bidding on keywords in order for your listing to show up under specific terms and phrases. And the seller who has the winning bid will win a certain placement for that keyword search term that they've been bidding on. So for example, journal for women. Let's say you were bidding on that keyword. Obviously, the more generic the term or phrase, the more likely that traditionally published authors and big publishing houses and so on are going to be bidding for those top keywords, and so you're highly unlikely to be able to rank for the most common terms. But advertisers do only pay the bid amount of their ad that actually gets clicked. So if your ad is never clicked, you do not get charged. And since this is an auction-based model, you will often not pay the full bid amount. What you pay is actually 1 cent above what your competitor has bid. So if your competitor bids 50 cents for a keyword and you bid a dollar, then you will pay 51 cents if your ad gets clicked. So although your ad will appear in, maybe a particular location on Amazon, let's say it's the top of the search and you're lucky to have that placement right at the top. As soon as someone clicks on your ad, that is when you're going to get charged, and that's whether they buy something from you or they just move along. The winner also won't necessarily be the highest bidder, because Amazon does have other info and criteria that they go on to base that decision on. There are various other factors that come into play, and I will go over that in a moment. So the best thing you can do with ads is literally to start them, and that's the number one tip that I have, because there is no one size fits all cookie cutter method when it comes to ads. It's not something that you can just set and forget about it. Well, you could, but you would end up losing a lot of money, so I wouldn't recommend it. With Amazon, it is an ongoing process. You do have to optimize your ads over time. And what might work incredibly well for one book won't work for another book. And they're just something you have to monitor regularly and tweak as you go. A profitable campaign 1 month might not work at all the next month. What you do need to do is have an Amazon Ads account. So I do recommend that you go and set that up. It's pretty straightforward. If you do want to set up your account, I will link to that somewhere here on the screen. It's advertising.amazon.com basically. And there will be a drop-down menu where you can choose what platform to run ads on. I currently have set up accounts in the US, Canada, and the UK. Those are the 3 that I've chosen. If you speak another language, you might want to set up campaigns in Germany or Spain, for example. So once you signed up to Amazon Ads, you can also log in and then save each link to your bookmarks. That's what I do. I have all of the Amazon accounts just in my bookmarks on my Chrome dashboard, and then I can easily access them from there whenever I want. So when you see sponsored listings in various locations on Amazon, you'll see the word sponsored in small writing above that listing. So as you can see, these are all sponsored listings. Now, this is under a very generic term. It's under Planner for Women, so very, highly competitive, and that's why you'll see things like this. These are businesses that have a much higher ad spend. As you can see how expensive these planners are, they're going to have a bigger budget to be able to afford this location for this very generic keyword phrase. So in the case of low content books, you're going to have probably much more success with some of the longer tail keywords when you're targeting them for your ad campaigns, because the other more generic and well-known shorter keywords are going to be highly competitive, and you probably won't be able to afford to run your ad to them. But as well as that, Amazon doesn't just choose your ad, depending on how much you're willing to pay, they also base it on things like how well the books convert to sales. If these all sell incredibly well and convert highly, then Amazon is much more likely to give them the space. They're more likely to give them the advertising space, even if they're actually bidding a lot less than what you might be prepared to do. So there are sponsored listings in various locations all over Amazon. So for example, we saw them there at the top of the page, and then they can be in the middle, they can be at the end, and they can also be on other people's product pages as well. The higher you are in the results, the more likelihood your book will of course be seen, and the more clicks it's going to generate, as long as it's an attractive book that people actually want to buy and it's relevant to the search term that they've put in. So every time someone sees your ad, this is classed as an impression. With Amazon, you do not get charged for impressions. 1,000 people could view your book on Amazon and you wouldn't get charged a penny. The only time you get charged is when someone actually clicks on your listing, and that is your sponsored listing. So will your ad appear at the top of the search results if you just bid the most? Fortunately, this doesn't happen, no. If Amazon just placed everyone's book that paid the most at the top of the listing, then only the people with the biggest budget would ever win. And obviously that's not fair, but also it doesn't really help Amazon either. What if someone had a massive budget, but their book really didn't convert into sales, or for example, their book wasn't relevant? So for example, if you're bidding for space under the keyword unicorn colouring book and your colouring book is actually about fish, then Amazon are not going to choose your book to be at the top of the search results. Also, if they see a book that is converting really highly and they're bidding a much lower amount than you, for example, then they're still going to choose the book that is going to make them the most money. When it comes to Amazon, making money and that combined with customer experience is incredibly important to them. So they want to have results which are highly relevant and highly converting at the same time. So here are some terms that you might want to become familiar with. CPC, that simply means cost per click, and that's how much on average it's going to cost you per click. When someone's just scrolling through Amazon and looking at the different books, and then they decide they're going to click on this listing, for example, this is a sponsored listing, and so if this is your book, you're going to get charged. And the cost per click really depends on various things. You decide on a bid. The bid is the maximum amount that you are prepared to pay for a click. So let's say you bid 40 cents or 40p in this case, we're in the UK. That doesn't mean that you will get charged 40p a click. It depends on various factors, but it really depends on the niche you're going into and how competitive it is and how many traditional publishers are in that space. And that's a big one as well, because obviously you can't generally compete against traditionally published books who have a much higher budget. They're also probably advertising outside of Amazon. They have a customer base and so on. Let's say that for this, your bid is 40p, but the winning bid is 32p. So you get charged 32p for the person to click, and they might do absolutely nothing apart from that and they go off. Or you might be lucky and they decide to purchase your book. So another really important metric is your ACOS, ACOS, and it's an important metric which ultimately determines whether your campaign is profitable or not. The lower the percentage, the better with ACOS, but what is profitable is going to be different depending on your royalty amount and how much you are charging for your book. So I'm going to just show you a really easy way to work out your ACOS break-even point. And this is really important because at a glance you can tell if your ad is profitable or if it's not. As an example, let's say you get a $2.04 royalty and you're selling your book at $6.99. This is taken from my own case because I have lots that make $2.04 in royalty. So what you do is 2.04 divided by 6.99 times 100. And that comes out as approximately 29 So my ACOS would be 29 to break even. In my case, this isn't right because I also get charged an additional 20% VAT tax. Not all countries are charged VAT on their ads. You will find out come bill time anyway. So now I'm going to talk about the types of ad that I use. There are a few different ads that I use, which I will briefly describe here. So the first one is auto ads, and these stand for automatic ads. They are the simplest to set up, but can get quite expensive quickly if you're not ready to optimize them and tweak them as you go. This is actually where Amazon will choose how to display your ad. It will choose keywords that it deems relevant based on the information that it has about your book historically to date and also your book's metadata. And it can choose to display your ad on similar product pages as well. So if you have a teddy bear coloring book, for example, it may choose to show your book on similar product pages. So these ads are really good for discovering profitable keywords and just generally getting a lot of data about your book, which you can then use in your manual campaigns. But I have to say that sometimes keywords that will work on an auto ad don't work on a manual ad. And it's a strange mystery of Amazon ads, but this seems to be the case. So partially this might be because, for example, exact match ads are just more expensive in general per click. And you can sometimes get these clicks for less amount via the auto ad campaign. So the other type of ad is a manual ad, and this is where you rely on choosing specific keywords for yourself. And Amazon can also suggest keywords for you when you set up your ad. These aren't always the best, but I tend to choose a combination of keywords that Amazon chooses, and then I'll find others via the AMZ suggestion expander and also Publisher Rocket. If I've previously set up an auto campaign, then I'll often just set up the manual ad with the winning keywords that I had from the auto campaign. So there are different types of manual ad you can set up as well. Exact match, and that is purely where the keyword is exactly as it is and nothing else. For example, gratitude journal. Amazon isn't going to add anything on the beginning or the end or anything like that. That's just one single keyword that you've chosen. Phrase match is when your keyword can also include words before and after the keyword in question that you've actually added. So if you add gratitude journal to the phrase match list when you set up your ad, then Amazon is free to also add some other words to the beginning or end, such as daily gratitude journal for ladies. And then there's broad match, and this is the least restrictive ad of any of the ones that I've just mentioned, and it's designed to reach a much broader audience. So it could contain your keyword terms that you add in any type of order with additional phrases before and after, and may include close variations on your keyword and other related terms. So it's incredibly broad. In general, I've always preferred exact match ads, even though they are more expensive. The reason mainly being is you do have more control. You select what the keywords are. Amazon isn't going to dabble with any of those and kind of choose keywords that aren't relevant to your book. So what are product ads? Well, product ads are where you can choose to advertise your book on a competitor's sales page. For example, if we go into one of these people's pages, it's an activity book here, and as we scroll down, you can see the sponsored section here. So these are all from product ads. And these people will have targeted this particular book. So this person, Colouring Book Kim, has got a couple of different books here. And they have targeted this book by Daisy 7th. And this can be quite good because if you have a relevant book, but maybe this book has less reviews, for example, then I see this book and it's got 67 reviews. And, I think I prefer this book. So then they'll go to this book. See, look, this is dodgy, by the way. This person has this as a number one seller in children's books on Buddhism. Of course, this is not anything to do with Buddhism. And also, I would be cautious about having this pen name, Colouring Book Kim. In any case, if you go to this book and we scroll down, then again, we can see that there are other books here that are being sponsored. And also notice that Colouring Book Kim is also here. And this is what I recommend to people, is actually product targeting your own books as well, so that your other books can end up being in this sponsored section. So yes, you would get charged for someone clicking on your ad here, but at least they're going to be going to another one of your books and not one of your competitors' books. So which ad is best? Ultimately, it is good to experiment and just don't get stuck dealing with one type of ad. It's good to have a look at the different types and become familiar with those. That's how you ultimately learn, and you'll see what works for what type of book. And that's the other issue. Sometimes one type of ad will work for one niche, it won't work for another. And there are so many other variables. Just sign up really and start experimenting, because that is how you learn it. So, do you have to be in profit for an ad to be worthwhile? In my opinion, I am fine with breaking even or even going at a small loss, especially for some particular ads, such as the product ones, where I'm targeting my own books, because I want to be on my sales page with some of my books there in the sponsored listing. If you make sales via your ads, then this is going to boost your book up in the algorithm. Your BSR is going to increase, and this will lead to more visibility on Amazon. And ultimately, this is going to generate more organic sales for you. So by organic sales, I mean natural sales from your regular listing of your book. And also, sales via ads will hopefully lead to reviews. And this is a really big one as well, because reviews not only boost your book again in the algorithm, but then you have that social proof that your book is good. Reviews are really important with Amazon, but you want them to be natural, organic from sales. So do have a wonderful rest of the week, and let me know your experience with ads so far. What kind of ads have worked for you, if you have ever done any, or what's holding you back if you have not opened an ads account. Let me know in the comments below, and I will speak to you again very soon.